All right, everyone, welcome back to the Chef Triathlete podcast. This is Anthony McCauley, a chef triathlete. This is where we talk about various topics, including endurance, health and wellness, lifestyle, and just basically getting through life in a positive way. So today we are going to talk about hiatus and how that can affect things. I had to step back for about a month and a half or so from the podcast just because I had a lot of things going on, and we're going to kind of break that down today and talk about the positives of taking a hiatus. And it doesn't mean a negative. It doesn't mean stopping. It actually helps with growth and goals. So, topic of today, what a podcast hiatus taught me about growth, goals, and life. After taking some time away from the mic, I'm here to return. Like I said, I wasn't taking a step back. It was just a little hiatus. In this episode, we're going to explore some lessons learned from balancing family, business growth, coaching, career, my Leadville training, my fundraising, and life in general. As you can see, I have a lot going on, and it's really just about finding that balance. And with all that being said, the podcast was one thing I kind of had to step away from for a little bit, but that's okay. We're back, and we're ready to go. Today, I want to talk about, just like I said, taking a pause and taking a hiatus and what that does to your overall goal. So there's times in life, there's times when you have a lot of things going on, and the one thing we always look for is consistency. Life gets messy, life gets busy, you're working on multiple goals at the same time, and sometimes you have to really look at those, and you might have to take a pause with one of those processes to keep things consistent, and that's what I had to do with the podcast. Like I mentioned, between my full-time career, between my Leadville training, the podcast, the coaching, the peptide business, I had a lot on my plate, and it just was not working. It was not balanced, and I was feeling very overwhelmed. So I kind of had to take a step back and reprioritize things and kind of think about what my plan is moving forward to be able to focus on what goals are most important in front of me now. So like I said, taking a pause is not a negative. The only time progress can be ruined by a pause is if you don't restart, right? We talk about this when we talk about goals all the time. We talked about this many times when people start a goal, whether it's a workout goal, whether it's a career development goal. It's that starting, and maybe you get comfortable, maybe something happens, and you stop. And then you don't start back up again. That's what you want to avoid when you take a break or a hiatus. You want to make sure that pause, that hiatus is intentional, and during that time, you're kind of resetting your goals or your priorities, right? To make sure they're aligned for what's in front of you right now at this time. So for me, right now, I am about to be really knee-deep into my Leadville training, and that takes a lot of time and commitment. So I need to make sure I'm prioritizing that and balancing other things around it to kind of keep everything level. The good and bad thing for me is that I have a lot of good things going on at the same time. My career is still growing. It's very busy. The coaching, I have athletes who are doing amazing that I'm helping along their paths to reach their goals. My little side business of educating and distributing, selling peptides is also growing at a rate that I have to be able to manage as well. We had this discussion. It's growing at a rate that I need to kind of take some control of, but that's for another time, another discussion. This is just where I'm at right now, right? So lessons from the Leadville training. So I don't know if anyone is familiar with Leadville. The Leadville 100 trail race is what I'm currently training for. So this is my main race of the year. Anyone that has known me in the past, I'm a little bit of a race junkie. If there's a race that I think is cool, I'm going to sign up for it. The past few years have been triathlon. I'd say in the past 4 years, I've done 5 full Ironman, maybe 10 or so half Ironman. And in between that, I've done marathons, half marathons, trail races, you name it, I've done it. I'm a race junkie. It's what I do. It's just about finding that balance. And when I decided that I want to attempt the Leadville 100 trail race, I had to completely reevaluate my race schedule, my training, my balance of life, all of it, because this is not something to be taken lightly. It's probably one of the hardest, if not hardest, 100-mile trail races out there, and I've been training for that the past few months. I've had some challenges. For some reason, the first few months of the year, I was dealing with some type of muscle tightness and shin splints, and it was really inhibiting my ability to run. So I had to train in other ways. Just recently, in the past month or so, I've been able to move past that. So the training has been a lot more consistent. I am a little behind where I want it to be right now, but not incredibly behind. And this is the thing, when you're setting a huge goal, I guess the progress where you think you should be and you're not there hold you back or stop you from pursuing your goal, right? You have to take things in small snippets, and you have to take the wins when you can. Some weeks are huge, some weeks you're in survival mode, and you always want to celebrate whatever wins you have. So what I've been doing lately, I've done 2 in the past month or so. I think 2 in the past month. 50K trail races, actually 3 in the past 6 weeks. I've signed up for 50K trail races, right? And I was still coming out of my injury, still trying to get back in the swing of running. So the first one that I signed up for all these as training runs. So the first 50K I signed up for about 6 weeks ago, it was a 50K. I knew most likely I was not prepared to finish a 50K, but I wanted to go out there and kind of get a feel for it, use it as training, and see where I'm at. So I completed a 30K that day. Then a couple weeks later, I signed up for another 50K trail race. Now, keep in mind, I'm not signing up for these races for goals. The goal of these races is more as training, right? Feel things out, work on my nutrition, see where I'm at physically, see where I'm at with my injury recovery, all the above. So that one I completed 40K, which was great. Then this past weekend, I signed up for another 50K, and I felt ready. So I completed that 50K, and I felt really good. So this tells me that I'm ready to start slowly ramping up the training, and that's what I've done in the past couple weeks. So that has been my main focus, is just really taking the training from Leadville. If you have ever trained for any large endurance race, whether it's Ironman, 100-mile race, marathon, half marathon, it's all about finding what works best for you and being okay where you are within that training, making sure that you do not get discouraged. It's very easy to get discouraged, right? So this is where I'm at with Leadville right now. I was feeling a little discouraged a few weeks ago, but now I'm starting to feel very confident. And with that Leadville training, which I did not mention, is that I'm also on a charity team. So amongst all those other things, I have a fundraising budget that I need to meet in order to get to the start line. So that was another, gear in the, cog, however you want to call it. That's another facet that I had to manage, which I actually am doing quite amazing. And I just want to thank everyone that has donated to my fundraising campaign to get me to Leadville. At this point, we're still a couple months out, and I am just shy of about $800 to reach my goal. So this actually lifts a lot of stress off my shoulders to just be able to focus on the training. So that's what I want to say about Leadville. Full steam ahead, super excited about it. We had a little bumpy start, but we are in the thick of it now and feeling really strong and confident and continue to move forward. So let's recap. Hiatus, right? Hiatus is positive. Does not have to be negative. And when you take a hiatus, make sure you have an intentional reason to take that hiatus, right? My intentional reason to take my hiatus from the podcast was to revisit all my other goals and make sure these goals are aligned with a big focus on Leadville right now and balancing all the other goals and all the other things I have going on along with that, including family life, making sure I have time for my family, making sure I'm spending time with my wife. We have commitments. This time of year is actually very busy for us. We have quite a few graduations and graduation parties, so making sure I'm balancing my training around that to be able to fulfill those commitments. If you do not do that, if you do not find that balance, it's very hard to be able to put everything you have into your training and or your other goals. So think about that. Make sure you have a balance in between all of your goals. And if a hiatus is necessary to kind of rethink these things, it's okay as long as you come out of that hiatus with a plan. So some things that we've talked about in past episodes to kind of help with all of this is the 4 micro decisions, right? Let's dig into those a little bit more and revisit those, because I think this fits perfectly with what we're talking about when you have multiple commitments, multiple goals going on, and you just feel like life is super busy and you can't get a grasp on things. Some of the micro decisions we talked about that definitely should be able to help keep a positive mentality and help you working through the days. Because that's the main goal, right? Is to be able to make sure you're feeling confident and positive every day. And there are certain things that can cloud those decisions. First thing, do not look at your phone as soon as you open your eyes in the morning. I have been as intentional as I possibly can with this, and I cannot tell you how tremendously this helps you wake up in a different mindset. As soon as you pick up that phone, your cortisol level is already high from your body waking up, because that's how your body wakes up. You wake up with a high cortisol because your body, you have to get your body kick-started, so you wake up with a high level of cortisol. And if you jump right into your phone, if you jump right into messages, social media and activities, what you're doing is you're not allowing the natural process of your body to let that cortisol level go down, so you can bring that pressure, that stress feeling down, and start your day the way that your body was meant to start. You know, we've heard terms like hit the ground running. You do not want to hit the ground running every single day in a way that's stressful. Now, if you have a plan and everything's thought out, you might hit the ground running, but it might be planned out and you have things set up in a way that you're running smooth, right? You're not sprinting, you're not running crazy, you're not running ragged. So there's 2 different ways of hitting the ground running, and we do not want to do that in a negative way. And looking at your phones the first thing in the morning is an absolute no. Try to find something else to do, whether it's, cuddle up next to your loved one, have your morning cup of tea, your morning cup of coffee, whatever it is, journal, meditate, do some breathing exercises. Even if you could do this for 5-10 minutes first thing in the morning before you look at that phone or laptop, I promise you it will change your days dramatically. You want to tell yourself today's going to be a good day, right? We all have challenges. As you can see, my life, some days I feel like I don't have 5 free minutes to myself, right? But I wake up positive every day like it's going to be a good day. I do not wake up like, oh my goodness, how am I going to get through this day? This day is so crazy. Everything's so stressful. I'm so stressed out. If I thought like that, I would never reach my goals. So you want to tell yourself, today is going to be a good day. It's going to be great. I have everything lined up. I know exactly what I'm going to do. I know what the day looks like. Challenges are going to come up, but because everything else is aligned, I'm going to work through those challenges, and it's still going to be a good day. Fueling intentionally. We talk a lot about fueling in terms of training and racing and athletes, because it's very important to us, right? As an endurance athlete, if you are not intentional about your fueling when you're not training and when you are training versus racing, you are going to set yourself up for disaster. It's the same thing for us. I hear it all the time. I get up. I probably don't eat till about 2 p.m. every day. I just have my couple cups of coffee in the morning, and that kind of gets me through the day. That's not correctly fueling your body to intentionally be able to fire on all cylinders. So I just want to I'm not talking about fasting, right? So people that fast, this is a whole different topic that we could talk about. We're not going to talk about that today. If you're intentionally fasting, your body reacts a bit differently. We're talking about an everyday person that needs to be cognitive, needs to be alert to get through the day, and you have to fuel your body to intentionally do that. You have to make sure that you're having some type of fuel to feed your body. Fuel is energy, right? Like, for instance, endurance athletes, for us, carbs is energy. If we are not fueling with carbs during our training and during our racing, our body is going to crash. It's the same thing with day-to-day life. You need to fuel your body with food. You need to give that engine gas in order for it to operate, or you're going to not be as alert. You're going to be moody. Your head's going to be cloudy. And you might think you're operating normally, but I promise you, if you are not fueling intentionally by, making sure you have something to eat in the morning, something to eat midday, having dinner at night, what's going to happen if you're not doing those things is that your body is going into these survival type modes, and it's not going to react the way you need it to. So I want you to try this out. If you're a person that does not intentionally think about fueling, right, and you just eat when you get a craving and you're going for whatever food is closest by you, because that's another issue, another challenge when you're not fueling, is that, if you wait to eat until you're absolutely hangry, you're also apt to make worse decisions of what you should be eating. So you might go for that, fast food, versus if you had planned your fueling out, you might pack a lunch and not go for that fast food. Or if you are someone that doesn't eat lunch, but in the afternoon, you always go for a cup of coffee and a little sweet treat like a chocolate chip cookie or a brownie, and that's your fuel for the day. That's not the right fuel. But if you had lunch, you had something sustainable, you might be able to skip that afternoon. You may not even feel that afternoon crash. This one I'm talking about fueling. So if you're not a person that fuels, I want you to try it for a week. I want you to be intentional about fueling and tell me how different you feel versus fueled and not fueled. Because a lot of people that are not fueling intentionally, they might think they are performing at their best. They might think they feel okay. But I promise you, when you start intentionally fueling, you're going to be like, I'm a whole new person. I'm focused. I can focus on my goals. I have energy all day long. I'm actually tired when I go to bed. And that goes right into the next thing, is having a bedtime routine. I cannot speak to this enough, how important sleep is. I've said it in many episodes. I said it in many of my social media videos. Sleep is probably the most important thing next to fueling that we do for our bodies. Our bodies need sleep to recover and do the work that it needs to repair itself and re-energize for the next day. Our body is working hard at night when it's sleeping, and if we're not sleeping, you're never charging that battery, you're never fully recovering, and you're not allowing your body to heal itself. This is where diseases happen easier. This is where injuries happen easier. This is where bad decisions and moodiness comes in, all because you did not have a good night's sleep and you do not have a bedtime routine. So what's a bedtime routine look like? It starts in the afternoon. If you are someone that loves caffeine like I do, caffeine later in the day is going to affect your sleep and your bedtime routine. I don't care what anyone says. You can say, oh, caffeine doesn't affect me. I could drink a cup of coffee at 8 o'clock at night and sleep like a baby. You may feel that way, but your body is not sleeping like a baby, because caffeine, whether you feel the stimulation or not, it is a stimulant, and it's going to stimulate your body at night if you're drinking it later in the afternoon. Cut out the caffeine. Have a bedtime routine. Now, this is a lot easier said than done for a lot of us, but once again, this is something that it's a habit, right? We don't believe habits can happen until we actually are intentional about sticking through with these habits. Just like we talked about the hiatus in the beginning of the podcast. If you come out of a hiatus with a positive plan, it's positive. If you do not come out of a hiatus at all, you don't reach any goals, you go right back to where you were. Same thing with starting a routine. If you follow through until that new routine is a solid routine, you feel the benefits. But if you do not fully engage into a possible new routine to see it through, you're just going to go back to where you were. Bedtime is a struggle for a lot of people because people don't think about a bedtime routine. Nobody really is intentional about bedtime, except for when we're kids and our parents tell us when to go to bed and shut the lights off. We do that for a reason so our children can get a good night's sleep, but we don't do it for ourselves. Why is that? We kind of forget about that. We know as parents how important that sleep is and how important that bedtime routine is, but then we don't do the same thing for us, and we're just hurting our own health. We're hurting ourselves. So let's look at a bedtime routine. Everyone has different lives. Everyone eats dinner at different times, so I understand that. So we have to look at this from a couple of different scopes, right? But what it all comes down to is to have a consistent bedtime routine where you shut your body down. So when you get into bed, it is bedtime, right? It's not get into bed, scroll social media until my phone falls out of my hand and I fall asleep. That's not a bedtime routine. That's you just keeping your mind stimulated until it can't stay awake anymore, and then you're not getting a good night's sleep because you're going to bed. Your mind was stimulated, you didn't have a good night routine, you probably didn't get into a deep sleep, and you're waking up tired in the morning, right? So scrolling social media, watching TV until you fall asleep, you have got to find a way to get rid of that. It's going to be something like, anything else. You can't stop a cold turkey, right? So work on a way to eliminate that from, going to bed. So an optimal bed night routine looks like this. Dinner, wind down, maybe you have to get the kids to bed, you have to get them showered, whatever the case may be. Sit down, relax. Maybe you watch a TV show. Maybe maybe you check your social media for a certain amount of time, and then 10 o'clock is your bedtime. So what are you going to do? Or 10:30 is your bedtime. Say you have a really busy life. You can't go to bed earlier than 10:30. 10 o'clock, you stop everything. 10 p.m., you put away the phone, you turn off the TV, you go into your bedroom, right? You want to have your room nice and cool. If you have to have a light on, you want to have a really dim light. Maybe a red lights are great. If you can get a red light bulb, that's really good to have. You're going to get into bed a half hour before you plan to fall asleep. You're just going to get into bed and relax. You're going to let your body naturally fall asleep. You're going to do your best to sleep for 6 to 8 hours. Here's one mistake that we make in the middle of the night. Do not wake up. When you wake up, you're tossing and turning or you have to go to the bathroom, do not pick up that phone to see what time it is. That is just going to start the stimulation of your mind and start to raise your cortisol levels. I know it's hard in the beginning, but after you start this routine, it's easy. Bedtime is bedtime. Bedtime means zero phone interaction at all. If someone needs to get a hold of you, they'll be able to get a hold of you, but there is nothing that you're going to look at that phone at 2 a.m. that is going to be positive for you to help you continue your sleep. So we're not looking at our phone at night. We're not getting up to go to the bathroom, checking our Facebook, checking this, checking that, and then all of a sudden you're up for 30 minutes, an hour, 45 minutes, whatever it is, because you got caught in that, and then you're trying to go back to sleep again. We have to break these sleep patterns. So ultimately, 10:30 bedtime, 10 p.m. you're in your bed, hopefully fall asleep around 10:30 on your own, sleep through the night. If you're waking up, it's fine. It's going to happen. Eventually, hopefully that will lessen, but you have to fight your urges to look at your phone. It doesn't matter what time it is. It doesn't matter. What is the difference going to be if you look at your phone and it's 1:30? Do you have to know it's 1:30 in the morning? No, because if you look at your phone and it's 1:30 in the morning, your mind's going to start thinking, and this is where the wake up every hour starts. Oh, I wake up every hour every night. It's because you're looking at your phone. It's 1:30. Oh, I'm going to fall asleep for a little while. My mind's going. My cortisol is going. I open my eyes. Oh, let me look at the phone. How long did I sleep? Oh, it's 2:30. Oh, it's 3:30. Oh, it's 4:30. Oh, it's 4:30. I may as well just stay up. I'm going to start scrolling social media. All of a sudden, it's 7 a.m. You get up and you're exhausted. You didn't sleep, right? This is what we have to focus on, these bedtime routines. So I fully believe that these 4 micro decisions, if you can visit these are going to dramatically help us manage all of the goals, all of the business, everything that we have going on in life. It's just going to help us improve. We want to be able to improve. We want to be able to be alert for our career. We want to be able to be alert for our family. We want to be not moody. We want to be able to make really good decisions and not rash decisions because our head is cloudy. And these 4 tips will absolutely help you. These 4 tips have helped me dramatically. The hiatus helped me dramatically. I was able to sit back and realign my goals. These things are designed for a reason if they're taken intentionally. So I just want to talk about that today. I really think it's really important to think about these, and I really think it's important to be intentional about our goals as much as we possibly can and realize that your original goals or your original way of life that was set up isn't always going to be consistent, right? It's not always going to be the same. When it gets inconsistent, that's when you take a pause and revisit things. So as we move forward with the podcast, what's up next? We are going to continue to give you updates on my status for Leadville 100. We are going to continue to talk about all the things with longevity, healthy aging, hormone optimization. I don't know if you remember or you listened to the past episodes, but we just had finished up a series with my great friend Courtney talking and discussing about perimenopause and menopause for women. We talked about hormone optimization for men. We talked about all those things for middle-aged adults that may overlook these things and not realizing that if they get these hormones optimized, it's going to help them dramatically with a lot of the challenge that we feel when we're middle-aged. So we're going to continue to touch upon those topics as we move forward. One thing in terms of or related to my Leadville training is talking about recovery and resilience. This is going to be another great topic we're going to talk about. One thing that has been really, really important to me, I've been actually discussing this with many of my friends. As I'm a middle-aged man myself, I really took the past year or so to really focus on muscle building and being intentional about lifting heavy weights. And I tell you right now, I feel stronger than I have my entire life at 47 years old. So we're going to take a series and talk about building strength after 40 years old. And I have some special guests lined up to come on and discuss that with us as well. So we have a lot of exciting things coming. We're going to revamp the podcast a little bit. We're going to bring some really exciting guests in, and we're going to continue to talk about optimizing, being more healthy, longevity, really focus on that middle-aged adult because that's just obviously what I'm passionate about, being an athlete and a middle-aged adult. With that being said, I want to leave you guys a great closing message, right? It's okay to pause. Just don't quit. The path forward isn't about perfection. It's all about coming back and taking the next step. With that being said, we're going to wrap up this episode. We'll see you guys in a couple weeks. Thank you for listening.